Imagine a universe where humans are treated as nothing more than mischievous little creatures, tiny, unpredictable, insignificant in the eyes of ancient galactic civilizations. But everything changes the day an alien farmer is torn apart by a monstrous cosmic predator, and the only thing that stands between him and certain death is a naughty Earth monkey who was never supposed to matter. What if the creature the galaxy laughs at becomes the one thing the universe fears? What if a single human, armed with nothing but courage, chaos, and a spark of impossible power, ends up unlocking secrets older than the stars themselves? Tonight, you will witness a story the universe never wanted you to know. A story of betrayal, awakening, unstoppable beasts, and the moment humanity proves why we should never be underestimated. If you want to experience the twist that shook the galaxy, if you want to know what the human did that no alien dared to try, then do not blink, do not skip, hit play and watch till the final second. The truth begins now. The twin suns rose over the crystal fields of Varlon 3, pouring molten gold over miles of shimmering crops. The alien farmer, Ravast, pushed open a hatch of his levitating barn, inhaling the thick scent of glowing pollen that danced on the morning wind. His forearms stretched with a loud crack, and his plated skin reflected the sunrise like polished obsidian. It was supposed to be a silent day, a quiet harvest, a peaceful shift, nothing unusual. But peace never survived long in a universe crawling with hungry shadows. And this was the day the shadows came for him. Ravast walked between the fields of luminescent sorgrain, each stalk thrumming with soft energy. Every movement he made sent ripples of color through the plants, as if the field itself breathed with him. Then he heard it, a deep, vibrating growl, a sound too ancient, too powerful, too wrong. The ground trembled beneath his feet. Cracks spiraled outward. A shadow rose from the far ridge, blotting out both suns. The Galactic Beast had awakened. It was a creature whispered about only in warnings, a titan born from the cold void, a predator that devoured planets, a nightmare fused from bone, plasma, and hunger. Its cavernous mouth opened, releasing a roar that shattered the nearest sorgrain stalks into dust. Ravast froze as a shock wave slammed into him, sending him tumbling across the field. His ears rang. Blood trickled down the side of his jaw. His vision blurred with swirling colors. He tasted iron. He smelled ozone. He felt the cold certainty of death. The beast charged. Each step detonated like a meteor impact. Its claws tore through the ground, dragging up slabs of rock. Its giant, molten eyes locked onto Ravast as a hunter locks onto prey. Not like this, Ravast whispered, scrambling backward on shaking legs. He reached for his plasma staff, but the weapon was snapped in half, crushed under the beast's earlier shockwave. He was unarmed, wounded, alone, and the beast lowered its horned head for the final strike. Then a small figure launched out of the sky, fast, chaotic, screaming in excitement instead of fear. A blur of brown skin, wild hair, and ridiculous courage. The creature crashed into the side of the beast's skull with a double kick that echoed like thunder. Ravast blinked in disbelief. It was the Earth monkey. Or at least, that was what Ravast people called humans. Annoying, unpredictable, loud, chaotic, and impossibly brave. The human somersaulted through the air and landed between Ravast and the beast. A grin spread across the human's face, as if this was nothing more than a fun morning workout. "Hey, big guy," the human said, cracking their knuckles. "You picked the wrong farm to ruin." Ravast stared. He felt his heartbeat slow. He sensed the ozone shift in the wind. There was something different about this human, something dangerous, something powerful, a spark of raw humanity that no alien species had ever understood, a fire that refused to die. The beast roared and charged again. The human responded with a fearless sprint straight toward it. Ravast shouted, "You cannot fight that thing. It destroys starships with its jaws." But the human just laughed. "Then I will fight it before it gets a chance." The ground shook violently as the beast's massive claw descended. The human slid under it, sparks flying from the dirt as their boots carved a trail. They leaped upward, spinning like a whirlwind, and slammed their fist into the beast's eye. The universe seemed to hold its breath. The punch sent a shock wave through the air. A real shock wave. A visible ring of pressure that blasted dust outward in a perfect circle. The beast staggered. Not dead, not weakened, but surprised. And an ancient predator that could swallow 20 armored tanks in one bite was surprised by a single human punch. Ravast felt a chill crawl through his spine. Humans were terrifying. The beast recovered and swung its massive tail. The tail struck with the speed of a collapsing star. The human flew backward, slamming through a floating storage pod and leaving a trail of shredded metal. Ravast gasped and ran toward the debris. Smoke billowed from the crash site. The air crackled with static energy. The human silhouette slowly rose from the ruins, bleeding, bruised, laughing. "Now we are talking," the human said, wiping blood from their lip. Ravast whispered, "Are all humans this insane?" The human winked. "Insane enough to save your life." The beast roared again, colder and angrier this time. Its body shifted, plates of obsidian armor sliding apart. Energy began to pulse between its ribs. A charging core. A planet killer blast. Ravast felt terror gripping his throat. If the beast unleashed that attack, the entire valley would vanish. His home, his crops, his life, all gone. The human stepped forward, gazing at the charging light inside the beast. Something in their eyes changed. The grin faded. The humor disappeared. What replaced it was something older, stronger, a human fury that no cosmic monster could ever understand. "You will not destroy this world," the human said softly. "Not while I am here." The ground beneath the human cracked. Energy surged around them. Ravast had never seen this before. Not in any human. Not in any species. It was as if the universe responded to the human's rage. As if reality bent slightly, nervous about disappointing them. The beast opened its jaw, revealing the glowing energy core. Light gathered. Power built. The human sprinted. Faster than sound. Faster than logic. Faster than fear. They leaped straight toward the beast's open mouth, shouting a battle cry that rattled the sky. And that was when everything changed. The beast fired. The human vanished inside the explosion. Ravast shielded his eyes as a blinding sphere of energy consumed the field. The ground shook. The air screamed. Reality warped. Then silence. Heavy. Terrifying. Absolute. Ravast dropped to his knees. "No. Human, please," he whispered. Smoke curled upward. Ash drifted through the air. But something moved inside the fading light. A silhouette. A shape glowing with raw human defiance. The human walked out of the explosion, alive, burning with energy, eyes blazing like two new suns. They cracked their neck and pointed at the beast. The human stepped forward, still glowing with the aftershock of surviving a blast that should have erased cities. Heat rippled from their body in waves that shimmered through the air, bending the light around them like liquid glass. Ravast stared with widening eyes. His breath trembled in his throat. His heart hammered like a warning beacon. His mind tried to understand what he was seeing. No human should have lived through that. No human should have walked out of that. But this one did. This one radiated a strength that felt older than the stars and wilder than any beast in the galaxy. The beast, colossal and ancient, paused for first time. Its molten eyes blinked. Its claws twitched uncertainly. The predator felt something it had never felt before. Unsettled, threatened, afraid. The human rolled their shoulders and spat a stream of blood onto the scorched soil. "All right, monster," they said, their voice deep with fury. "You tried to vaporize me. Now I will return the favor." They cracked their knuckles. The bones popped like distant thunder. Ravast felt a chill. The human was no longer smiling. This was not playful chaos anymore. This was something else entirely. This was the terrifying core humanity that alien scholars fail to describe. A stubborn, relentless force that refused to die, refused to retreat, refused to surrender. A spark that burned brighter in danger. The beast's plate slid apart again. Energy gathered between its ribs. It prepared another blast more powerful than the last. The air around it screamed as particles vibrated at impossible frequencies. The ground cracked beneath Ravast's feet. He shouted, "Move away! You will not survive another one." The human glanced back briefly, their eyes glowing. "I did not survive the last one either," they said calmly. "I outstubborned it." The beast roared and fired. A blinding torrent of cosmic energy tore across the field, splitting the sky in half with a streak of brilliant white. But the human did not dodge. They sprinted straight into it. The impact shook the valley. Lightning cracked against the ground. Winds ripped crops out of the soil. Ravast barely held on to a floating boulder as the shock wave nearly flung him into the sky. Through the blinding light, he saw it. The human was pushing through the beam, step by step, inch by inch. Their muscles strained, their skin burned, their bones rattled. But they pushed. They pushed through a force that destroyed starships. The beast roared louder. The beam intensified. Entire mountain fragments shattered in the distance. The field turned into a storm of glowing dust. Yet the human kept walking. Their feet dug trenches into the ground. Their hands shook like chains under stress. Their breath came in harsh, broken bursts. But they kept moving forward. The beam began to bend slightly, as if the universe itself was confused by what was happening. And then the human leaped. They soared to the heart of the beam, their body becoming a streak of fiery motion. They shot upward like a comet and slammed both fists into the beast's jaw. The explosion of impact echoed deep into the atmosphere. The beast's head snapped sideways. The beam flickered and died. The Titan stumbled backward, crushing boulders beneath its massive body. For the first time, the Galactic Beast tasted pain. The human landed in front of Ravast, their feet digging into the dirt. Steam rose from their arms. Their skin was cracked in places, glowing faintly as if energy leaked through invisible wounds. But they stood straight. They breathed steady. They glared at the beast without an ounce of fear. Ravast whispered, "How are you still alive?" The human looked at him, eyes blazing like magma. "Because I am human," they said. "And humans do not fall until we finish what we start." The beast, enraged now, slammed its claws into the ground. Massive shock waves burst outward. Stone pillars shot up like missiles. Fragments of crystal sliced through the air. The human darted between the flying debris, moving with impossible speed and precision. Their body twisted through narrow gaps. Their hands smashed apart fragments before they could hit Ravast. Dust clouds swirled. Wind howled. The sky flashed with streaks of energy. The battlefield turned chaotic. The beast lunged with its colossal jaws. Teeth as long as spears snapped inches from a human shoulder. The human grabbed one giant tooth with both hands and swung upward, flipping onto the beast's snout. They sprinted across its head like a soldier running along a warship. The beast shook violently, trying to fling the human away. But the human held on, fingers digging into cracks in the armor. With a guttural shout, they leaped and drove a punch downward. The blow hammered against the beast's skull, causing it to sink several meters into the ground. Ravast watched in awe. His vision shook. His heart felt like it would explode. He had lived decades on this farm. He had seen storms rip apart ships and predators swallow entire herds in one bite. But he had never, ever witnessed anything like this. A single human fighting a cosmic apex predator with nothing but fists, willpower, and an unbreakable spirit. He whispered to himself, "Humanity, I never knew you were made of this fire." The beast suddenly roared with fury and charged straight toward the human. The ground split beneath its weight. Lightning cracked across its back. Its core glowed brighter, unstable. It was preparing to explode. Not a focused beam, not a blast. A self-detonation large enough to wipe out a continent. Ravast screamed, "Human, it is going to release everything. You must run." The human stood perfectly still. The wind whipped their hair. Dust spiraled around their feet. Their eyes locked onto the beast. "I will not run," they said. "I will end this." The beast charged, building energy to the threshold of absolute destruction. The human placed one foot forward. Their body lowered. Their fists tightened until their knuckles cracked loudly. The air around them rippled. Gravity bent slightly. The field hummed with tension. Ravast felt his breath freeze in his lungs. There was something about this stance, something ancient, something that belonged not to warriors, but to legends. The beast reached full charge. Its chest glowed like a collapsing star. Its jaws opened, ready to unleash annihilation. The human exhaled slowly. Then they moved. A single step, a single breath, a single punch. The world turned white. The sound vanished. The wind vanished. Time itself seemed to blink. A shockwave erupted from the human's fist, ripping outward like a newborn sun. The beast froze. Its energy flickered. Its plates cracked. Its core shattered into fragments of dying light. The giant collapsed in slow motion, a titan undone by the smallest creature in the galaxy. The ground trembled for long seconds as the massive body hit the earth. Silence returned. Smoke curled across the field. Dust drifted like soft snow. Light faded from the sky. The humans stood in the center of the devastation, their fists still raised, their bodies shaking with exhaustion. They did not fall. Not yet. They turned and looked at Ravast. A faint grin returned. "See," they said, breathing hard. "I told you humans are stubborn." Ravast walked forward, trembling. "You did the impossible," he whispered. "No species has ever defeated a galactic beast. Entire battle fleets have failed. But you alone, you—" He stopped, his throat tightened with emotion. "Thank you," he said, "for saving my home, for saving my life." The human wiped sweat from their brow. "Do not thank me yet," they said softly, "because this was not the end." Ravast blinked. "What do you mean?" The human pointed at the beast's broken chest, deep inside the cracked rib plates. Oft at first, then sharper, then rhythmic like a heartbeat that did not belong to something dead. The human narrowed their eyes, stepping closer with cautious precision. Their muscles trembled with exhaustion. Burn marks lined their arms. Smoke curled from their skin like fading embers. Even so, they stood like a wall between Ravast and danger. "Stay behind me," the human said quietly. Ravast swallowed hard. "I thought you killed it." "So did I," the human whispered. But something inside it disagrees. Cracks in the beast's rib plates widened with a sickening crunch. Sharp fragments fell like shards of obsidian glass. A low hum rattled the ground, vibrating through Ravast's knees. The air grew hot. Ozone thickened until his throat burned. Then something clawed its way out. A smaller creature, no larger than a battle horse, dragged itself onto the beast's collapsed body. It was skeletal at first glance, its form translucent like molten crystal. Energy pulsed through its veins instead of blood. Its eyes were hollow pits of pale blue fire. It turned its head toward the human and hissed, a sound so sharp that Ravast felt it slice through his ears like a blade. The human clenched their fists again, shoulders tensing despite the visible pain. "So that is it," they muttered. "The beast had a parasite, a symbiotic core intelligence. That is why it was so strong." The creature screeched and lunged. The human dodged by a hair, sliding backward across scorched earth. The creature landed where the human had been, its claws stabbing deep into ground and melting rock on contact. Ravast gasped. "That thing has enough energy to melt through starship hulls." The human smirked despite the fatigue dragging at the corners of their mouth. "Then I will not let it touch me." The creature rushed again, its body flickering in and out of physical form. The movement was fast, too fast, even for a trained soldier's eyes. But the humans saw it. They ducked, twisted, grabbed a stray crystal shard from the ground. With sharp spin, they slashed it upward like a blade. The shard left a bright streak of light. It hit the creature's chest. The creature screamed, a high, metallic shriek that cracked the air. Its body split briefly into flickering energy lines. Then it reformed, angrier than before. Ravast shouted, "Your body is too damaged. You cannot keep fighting like this." The human did not look back. Their gaze locked firmly on the energy parasite. "I can fight as long as I need to," they said, breathing hard. "I will stay standing until this thing is gone." The creature blurred forward again. The human met it with a desperate kick that sent both of them tumbling across the cracked soil. They rolled through dust clouds, sparks, and shards of shattered obsidian. Each impact sent shock waves through the earth. When they finally separated, the human dragged themselves upright, barely. Blood dripped from their knuckles. Their breathing grew ragged, but their eyes still held that unbreakable fire. The creature rose too, its body flickering more violently. It screamed again, this time louder. Ravast felt the scream attack his mind. His vision blurred. His legs buckled. "What is happening?" he gasped, falling to one knee. The human shouted over the shriek. "It is a psychic vibration. It is trying to break your mind." The air around the creature rippled like boiling water. Lines of shimmering energy spread outward. Ravast collapsed completely, clutching his head with trembling hands. His mind felt like it was splitting open. He whispered, voice cracking, "Human, stop it, please." The human's expression hardened. Their jaw clenched so tightly it cracked. Then they roared back. A human roar. Raw, primal, furious. The psychic vibration wavered. The creature staggered. The human dashed forward again, ignoring the pain now scorching their skin. They tackled the parasite with brute strength, pinning it to the ground. Energy surged between them, crackling like lightning. The human screamed as the parasite tried to drain their life force. Blue fire burned across their arms. Their bones glowed through their skin. The creature screeched louder, struggling violently. But the human held on, held with everything they had, held with everything that defined humanity. Ravast forced his fading vision upward. The battlefield blurred. The sky spun. His ears rang. But he saw it. He saw the human refusing to let the universe win. He saw strength where none should remain. He saw fury born from survival. He saw a creature from a small blue world forcing the cosmos itself to yield. Ravast whispered, tears burning down his face. "Humans, you are truly unbelievable." Light exploded outward, engulfing both combatants in a white vortex. Ravast screamed, "No!" For a moment, all sound vanished. All movement ceased. The world became a silent void. Then the light faded. The creature lay shattered. Its crystal body cracked into 100 cooling fragments. The humans stood over it, shaking violently, their bodies steaming from absorbed energy. They staggered. Their legs buckled. Their eyes rolled back. Ravast leaped forward, catching them just before they collapsed. He lowered the human gently to the ground, his heart pounding with terror. "Stay awake," he pleaded. "Stay awake, human. You saved my world. Do not leave it yet." The human opened one eye weakly. "I am not going anywhere," they whispered. Ravast exhaled with relief. But the ground beneath them suddenly rumbled again. Ravast's blood froze. "No, please no. What now?" A faint glow returned. Tiny sparks of energy jumped between the pieces. The creature was trying to regenerate. Ravast cursed in terror. "It is rebuilding itself." The human pushed against Ravast's chest, forcing themselves upright despite their broken body. "No," the human whispered. "I will finish this." They staggered toward the glowing fragments. Each step looked like agony. Each breath sounded like knives. Yet they moved forward, unyielding, unstoppable. The fragments gathered more light. A faint shape began forming. The human dropped to one knee in front of it, placing their trembling hands upon the ground. They closed their eyes. Ravast felt the air heat again. A vibration ran through the soil. The human's breathing deepened. And then they slammed both fists into the ground. A shock wave burst outward, ripping through the field in a perfect circle. The forming creature screamed as its fragments were hurled upward, disintegrating into glowing dust. When the dust settled, nothing remained. The human collapsed face first into the dirt. Ravast rushed forward and rolled them over. Their chest rose and fell slowly. Their face was pale. Their body was limp. But they were alive. Barely. Ravast held the human in his arms, shaking with emotion. "You have saved my world twice," he whispered. "And now I will save you." He lifted the human carefully. But as he turned toward the horizon, a distant roar rolled across the sky. Not one roar. Many, dozens, Hundreds. Shapes darkened the skyline. Massive shapes. The beast had not been alone. Ravast's heart froze. The horizon trembled beneath a storm of dust and darkness. Massive silhouettes rose like mountains dragging themselves out of the earth. Their glowing eyes flickered to the haze. Blue, red, a few burning like dying suns. Dozens. Hundreds. A whole migration of galactic beasts awakening from forgotten ages. Each one large enough to break continents. Each one older than every empire Ravast had ever heard of. Each one roaring with a sound that felt like the end of everything. And his protector, his unlikely savior, the unstoppable human, lay unconscious in his arms. Ravast felt terror coil through his chest like a living thing. No, no, this cannot be happening, he whispered. I cannot face an entire swarm. Not even star fleets can face a swarm. The wind shifted as the beast approached, carrying the metallic scent of imminent destruction. A second rumble shook the planet. The ground cracked in spiraling lines beneath Ravast's feet. Flocks of sky creatures scattered into clouds and panic waves. The nightmare marched closer. The human stirred faintly in his arms. Their eyelids fluttered but did not fully open. Their breath rasped with exhaustion. Their skin radiated faint heat, the last remnants of the impossible energy they had absorbed. Ravast held them tighter. Human! Please wake up, you must wake up. The human only groaned, a sound raw with pain. Ravast looked again toward the swarm. The nearest beast stepped forward, its claws sinking deep into the soil, leaving molten footprints behind. Its head lowered, its nostrils flared. It had caught their scent. It was coming for them. Ravast's instinct screamed at him to run, to flee, to hide, to save himself. But he looked at the human, broken, exhausted, bleeding, unconscious, and something inside him hardened. This human had fought for him, suffered for him, nearly died for him, and no matter how terrified he was, he would not abandon them. Not now, not when they needed him. Ravast adjusted the human in his arms and began to run. His boots pounded across the ruined soil. Dust rose behind him in frantic trails. He dodged fallen crystal shards, shattered boulders, and scorched terrain. The valley thundered as multiple beasts began to chase him. Each step they took shook the land. Each roar cracked the air. Each breath from their nostrils melted the ground in molten streaks. Ravast ran anyway. His lungs burned. His legs screamed. His vision blurred. But he did not stop. Then the sky split open. A streak of white fire tore across the atmosphere, descending in a spiral of glowing tendrils. Ravast skidded to a halt, eyes widening. The clouds parted in a perfect circle as something descended from beyond orbit. A massive, elegant vessel, sleek silver with golden bands, dropped to the atmosphere like an arrow. Its hull hummed with ancient runes. Its engines burned with white plasma. Ravast recognized it immediately. The Celestial Archive, he whispered. The oldest knowledge vessel in the galaxy. But why was it here? How did it find them? The ship hovered above the ruined battlefield, casting a shimmering curtain of light that pushed back the dust storm. A deep voice resonated across the valley, amplified through every particle of air. Identify the human, the voice commanded. We detected an anomaly beyond classification. Ravast gasped. They came because of you. The human groaned again, eyelids fluttering. Tell them to wait, they whispered, barely conscious. But the Celestial Archive did not wait. A brilliant column of light shot downward from the ship. It swept over the battlefield like a scanning beam. When it touched the human's unconscious body, the light flared so intensely that Ravast had to shield his eyes. The ship's voice spoke again, deeper and more troubled. This human has accessed an ancient energy protocol. Impossible. Impossible. Ravast shouted upward. What do you want with them? They saved us. The voice responded with chilling calm. We want nothing, but the universe will want everything. Before Ravast could question that cryptic warning, the ground exploded beside him. A galactic beast slammed into the soil, jaws snapping shut only meters from his legs. Ravast stumbled backward, holding the human tight, nearly losing his balance. The beast roared directly into his face, its breath melting the rocks around them. His skin stung with heat. His body trembled. He braced for death. But then, a blast of golden light struck the beast's head, knocking it sideways. Ravast looked up. The celestial archive had fired a defensive beam. The beast staggered, but only for a second. Then it roared again, angrier than before. More beasts charged from the horizon. The celestial archive fired again. Again. And again. Massive beams carved through the ground. Columns of light pinned down colossal limbs. Thunder cracked across the sky. Yet the beasts kept coming. Nothing stopped them. Not ancient energy. Not legendary ships. Not weapons that erased mountains. Their determination felt almost deliberate. Ravast realized a terrifying truth. They are not hunting the planet, he whispered. They are hunting the human. As if an answer, the celestial archive's voice resonated again. The human is the anomaly. The beasts seek it. The swarm has awakened in response. Ravast looked down at the unconscious human. What did you do? He whispered. What are you? The human's eyes suddenly opened. Just barely. Just a sliver. But in that moment, their eyes glowed, not with exhaustion, not with pain, but with something deeper. A quiet, ancient power. A force that felt older than the celestial archive itself. The human exhaled softly and whispered a single word. Drop me. Ravast shook his head violently. No, you cannot even stand. The human's glowing eyes fixed on him, steady and determined. Drop me now. The ground shook again. Ravast hesitated, but only for a heartbeat. He lowered the human gently onto the soil. The human pushed their palms against the cracked earth. Their arms shook. Their breathing faltered. Their bodies swayed like it could collapse at any second. But then, the ground beneath them began to glow. Golden light spread outward in concentric rings. The air hummed. The soil vibrated. Energy crawled up the human's arms like living flames. Ravast stepped back, trembling. What are you doing? You will die. The human whispered through clenched teeth. I am calling it. Calling what? The human glared at the approaching swarm, the part of humanity the universe hoped never to see again. The golden rings expanded, carving glowing lines across the battlefield. The sky darkened. Clouds swirled into spirals of black and gold. The celestial archive stopped firing. Even its ancient systems froze, as if in shock. The swarm stopped charging. Every beast lowered its head, not in aggression, but in recognition. Ravast's blood turned to ice. He stared at the human, who now stood, barely, shaking violently, surrounded by a column of rising light. He whispered in awe and horror, What are you doing? What are you awakening? The human lifted their head. Their eyes were pure gold. Their voice echoed with something far beyond human limits. I am awakening, the first memory of humanity. The sky cracked open. The beasts roared in unison. The jungle moved of Varos. 9 trembled under the weight of forces that were never meant to awaken. Echoes rolled through the trees like the heartbeat of a sleeping god. Lyra pressed her back against a shattered root wall and whispered urgently, Ethan, that roar was not the Galactic Beast alone. Ethan wiped dust from his face. His pulse hammered hard enough to blur the edges of his vision. I know, he replied. It sounded older, deeper, like something was underneath it. Before Lyra could respond, the ground split with a violent crack. The trees toppled in a massive circle, collapsing outward as though something huge was pushing upward from beneath the soil. The Galactic Beast froze. Its many red eyes widened. For the first time, Ethan saw fear inside them. That alone made his blood turn cold. If the predator's stars felt fear, then whatever was waking was beyond monstrous. A second roar climbed from the broken ground. It was not a scream of rage. It was a declaration of existence, a voice forged from ancient cosmic fire. The soil erupted. A blinding column of blue-white light burst from the earth, ripping through the clouds and splitting the sky. Ethan shielded his face with an arm. His skin prickled as static surged through the air. The energy smelled like burning ozone and ancient dust at the same time. Lyra staggered backward, whispering, No, that is impossible. That is a sealed core, a sentient one, Ethan squinted through the light. What does that mean? It means, she answered with a trembling voice, something that should never awaken just awakened. The galactic beast shrieked and lunged away, suddenly desperate to escape. But tendrils of pure light wrapped around its limbs and dragged it back toward the crater. The creature roared, slicing beams of fire from its jaws, but the light devoured them like smoke. Ethan felt a shiver that ran deeper than nerves. Something inside the light was moving, a figure, tall, luminous, shaped like a humanoid made of starlight and stone. It stepped out of the collapsing crater, each step shaking the world. Lyra whispered its name with reverence and terror. The Astral Harvester. Ethan whispered, "Please tell me that is just a dramatic name." "It is not," she replied. "It is one of the ancient machines created when the galaxy was young. They harvest dying stars to preserve life, or to destroy entire civilizations if they believe the balance is broken." Ethan swallowed hard. "And why is it here?" Lyra's eyes widened. "It must have sensed the beast. Or the explosion you triggered earlier might have woken it." Ethan muttered, "Great. The monkey from Earth wakes up a cosmic apocalypse robot. Fantastic." The Astral Harvester turned its glowing head toward him. Ethan froze. His heart slammed against his ribs. The being's voice entered his mind, vibrating like thunder wrapped in whispers. "Stolen starseed detected. Identify." Lyra gasped. "It thinks you possess forbidden energy." Ethan remembered the glowing shard that had embedded into his chest during the first beast attack. He touched the place over his heart. It still burned faintly. Ethan looked up. "I did not steal anything. A giant monster stabbed me. I was busy trying not to die." The harvester's eyes pulsed brighter. "Energy is unstable. Will trigger catastrophic chain if not contained. Surrender unit for dismantling." Ethan swore under his breath. "That sounded an awful lot like killing me." "It is exactly that," Lyra whispered. "We need to run. Now." But the galactic beast roared again as it broke partially free from the light. It lunged at the harvester. The harvester raised one hand. A ripple of energy tore through the air. The beast was thrown across the jungle like a rag doll, carving a canyon through the forest. Ethan whispered, "I cannot outrun something that throws mountains." Lyra grabbed his arm. "Then you will not outrun it. You will outsmart it. You are human. That is what you do." Ethan gave her a tight nod, even though fear twisted every nerve in his body. But the harvester was not waiting. It took a step toward him. The ground hardened under its feet, crystallizing into star glass. "Submit." The word shook Ethan's bones. "No," he said firmly. "You do not get to decide that I do not deserve to exist." The harvester's light dimmed for a moment, as though confused. Ethan continued, "On Earth we do not kneel. We fight back." Lyra looked at him with astonishment. The harvester looked at him with curiosity. Ethan took a step forward. Adrenaline surged through him. The shard in his chest pulsed brighter, reacting to the harvester. "I did not steal your energy," he shouted. "And I will not let you kill me for something I never wanted." The harvester's voice shook the sky. Human defiance, anomalously strong. Its body flickered, analyzing him deeper. Ethan felt the pressure inside his chest building, like molten lightning. The harvester raised a hand again. Lyra screamed, "Ethan, move!" He jumped to the side as a beam of energy sliced through the air, turning the ground into glowing glass. Ethan rolled behind a fallen trunk. His heart hammered violently. Another blast followed. He barely dodged it. The trunk exploded into shards. Ethan breathed through gritted teeth. "If I survive this, I am planting 1,000 trees." The pulsing in his chest intensified until his vision blurred. A new wave of images flooded his mind. Star maps, galactic forges, ancient civilizations burning, the harvester building suns by hand. His breath caught. The shard inside him was not just energy. It was memory, a piece of the ancient machine's consciousness. And it was trying to speak. Ethan pressed a palm to his chest and whispered, "Fine, show me what you want me to see, but help me survive." The shard flared. The world changed. For a moment, time slowed. The trees froze mid-sway. The dust hung motionless in the air. The harvester's next attack slowed to a crawl. Ethan stood slowly, breathing hard. He whispered, "All right, let us test a theory." He reached toward the harvester. The shard pulsed again. A beam of light erupted from Ethan's hand. Wild, unstable, chaotic energy. It collided with the harvester's blast in midair. The sky erupted in swirling shockwaves. Lyra screamed through her hands. "Ethan, what are you doing?" Ethan dug his heels into ground. His muscles shook. His bones felt like they were turning into liquid fire. But he held. For the first time, the harvester staggered backward half a step. It stared at Ethan, evaluating. Human, wielding starseed without molecular collapse. Impossible. Ethan coughed smoke and shouted back. Impossible is what humans do best. The harvester lowered its arm slowly. Its glow dimmed into a color that resembled thought. Human, you are irregular, dangerous, yet potentially crucial. Ethan wiped blood from his lip. I will take that as a compliment. The machine leaned in closer. The ground trembled under its weight. Ethan's breath hitched, not from fear this time, but from the overwhelming ancient pressure of its presence. Human, the harvester said, the Galactic Beast came for you. Not Lyra, not this moon. Ethan blinked. What? Lyra said softly. That means the beast hunted your energy signature. It sensed what the shard awakened inside you. The harvester continued. It seeks to devour the memories inside your chest. If it consumes them, the last key to the astral vault dies with you. Ethan's heart stopped. Lyra went pale. The astral vault? She whispered. The harvester turned its luminous gaze toward the distant forest, where the beast was rising again. It holds power older than galaxies. Power that must never fall into the wrong claws. Ethan whispered, What does this have to do with me? The harvester paused. The sky dimmed. The wind died. Every shadow leaned inward to listen. Human, it said, you carry the final memory of the one who created me. Ethan staggered backward. His mind reeled. Lyra gasped, covering her mouth. Ethan whispered in disbelief, I have the memory of a cosmic engineer? Yes. And the beast wants it? Yes. Ethan clenched his fists. The jungle trembled again. Trees snapped in the distance. The beast was returning. Ethan breathed out slowly. His body shook. His mind raced. Fear crawled under his skin. But beneath all of that, a rising fire. A human fire. Ethan stepped forward, voice steady. Then I will not run. Lyra grabbed his arm. Ethan, no. This one is stronger now. You saw what it did. Yes, Ethan replied. And it will try again, but I am done being prey. The shard glowed like a star inside him. The harvester watched closely. Lyra stared with wide, terrified eyes. The forest shook violently. A monstrous roar tore across the sky. The Galactic Beast appeared through the burning jungle canopy. Ethan raised his chin. Round 2. He stepped toward the monster. The jungle held its breath. The beast crouched. Its eyes burned. Its claws tore trenches into the earth. Ethan whispered, Come and get me. And the universe obeyed.